Man United, I could do a video on 20 signings Man United need to make, and it still probably wouldn't fix them. I picked Unai Simon. He's 10 clean sheets in 20 appearances. So the thing about United, on paper they're not bad. They have options in each position. This has been the case for a while. The problem with United, I'm not going to get into this too deep because it's not the point of the video, not the point of the podcast, but United's problems are besides their squad. I don't know if it's the culture, I don't know if it's the owners, I don't know if it's the manager, but the problem isn't necessarily in the squad. They have good players in each position. They have players who have proven to be good. Not all at the same time. That might be their issue, but they have good players in each position. Except Onana has looked incredibly exposed in recent games. And I don't necessarily think we should replace Onana. I think when Onana signed with United, it was one of the most anticipated signings of the year because he's proven to be a high-level goalkeeper. It's just, I think his confidence is gone as a goalkeeper. That can be incredibly detrimental. So I think something like Unai Simon from Athletic Club, I think he's a good player to bring in. Because I think it can relieve Onana if he's ever having a howler. But it can also bring some friendly competition to help his game. And Unai Simon will be at a point in his career. He's Spain's number one. He plays for Athletic Club. But the thing about Man United is they still have incredible pull for a team that has been incredible. I know I'm a Liverpool fan. I know I'm going to sound biased. United have been average for at least 5 years. Yeah, they won. Eric Ten Hag won 2 cups. But just look what's going on. For a club that's been doing how they have been, they still have an incredible pull. So I think they'd still be able to have that kind of potentially biggest club in the world pull to attract someone like Unai Simon. I think he would want to on his end. I think he would benefit Onana in the sense, like I said, he can relieve him and he can also bring some competition. And also, if Onana isn't in good form, he can benefit the team. So I think it's kind of I think it benefits Simon, it benefits Onana, it benefits the team. He's 30 million euros. There's no reason United can't spend that. I don't think the 2 goalkeeper switch worked for Arsenal, but I'm not saying. I think there's still a place for it. I'd still like to see someone give that a go in modern football. And with United at this point, build a team from the back, no further back than the goalkeeper. So I don't know. I think maybe it might be kind of out of left field, but what else are they gonna try? Spurs. I'm with Andrew Lunin for Real Madrid for 25 million euros. So with Spurs, they have really good players in each position, but they're mid-table right now. They have good players, they have a good manager, they have a decent culture. So why aren't they doing well? Well, Vicario's out indefinitely, and Fraser Forster should have retired 5 years ago. I'm not just saying with United and them a goalkeeper can fix everything, but I don't think you realize how important a goalkeeper is in the scheme of things. So, and even before Vicario was injured, Spurs had just 4 clean sheets in the Premier League between both their goalkeepers. Also, Spurs' offensive and defensive record are some of the best in the Premier League. I know I just said they only have 4 clean sheets, but if the goals, they're not conceding a ton of goals. If they're losing games, it's by 1 or 2 goals. So I think if they get that safe pair of hands on Andrew Lunin, again, he's kind of like a Brahim Diaz. They're both Real Madrid backups, but they've both proven in the past they're capable, but they both want a chance at first team football. I know they will. Trust me, I know these guys. But I think there's similar signings in the sense that you can't just bring a backup who's completely cold and has never been a first-team player in their life. That's kind of what West Ham's problem with their defense is right now. Sorry, West Ham, there's a bit of a stray. There's actually a lot of West Ham fans who watch these videos, so I should probably chill. But you should shut up, West Ham. You know what? I should have this on my floor. So big up the Hammers. Don't ask why I have a West Ham bag and a Liverpool shirt. I'm American. I can do what I want. But yeah, back to what I was talking about. I think London has because Real Madrid have had those goalkeeper injury woes in the past, so I think he's proven that he can perform at a high level, but he's gonna want a chance at first team football. Vicario's out indefinitely, and even when Vicario's back, I think he can be a valuable asset to Spurs. I think if they want to do a 2 goalkeeper rotation, I think they can do that because they haven't really had a big goalkeeper come in since Lloris. Not that Vicario's been bad, but I think he'd be. I don't know. I think competition could do him quite well. Man City. For Boubacar Kamara, Aston Villa, 38 million euros. Very similar to Nottingham Forest. I mean, City. I know City's problems can be solved by one signing. They've been incredibly poor ever since Rodri's been injured. They've won 1 of the last 14 matches, and as of now, they're 6th in the Premier League. Rodri's the only listed CDM in the. I know Nunez can drop back and play CDM, but if Nunez were good at CDM, they wouldn't be 6th in the Premier League. Is all I'm going to say. So I think they need a traditional defensive midfielder, Boubacar Kamara. He can serve as a backup when Rodri's back. I'd be very surprised if they don't bring in a holding midfielder. I mean, 38 mil could honestly still be a backup for City. I think he's incredibly capable midfielder. I think he can be what they thought Gundogan, I just don't know how to say his name, would be. I think when he came back, there was a lot of excitement on the club, maybe a nostalgia bias, but he did well for Barcelona, so I'm not sure if it was purely nostalgia bias. But I think he could kind of be that defensively capable, but otherwise versatile midfielder that they kind of thought Gundogan would be. Arsenal went Artem Dovbyk for AS Roma for 30 million euros. Arsenal were very tricky to choose a player for because they have a very good squad. I feel like the only times they're not performing is because injuries. And yeah, they could sign a backup, and that's what I've actually chosen to do. He's 9 goals and 3 assists this season. So Arsenal have a very good squad, and they have plenty of options in each position. So I feel like when Arteta first took over, he liked to rotate the strikers. He kind of liked to play around with Nketiah. He liked to play around with Smith Rowe. No, he's a midfielder. He liked to play around with Saka when he was first bursting onto the scene. Obviously, Aubameyang Lacazette would have been at the start. So I think Arteta likes to have a lot of attackers. So I think having someone like Artem Dovbyk, I think he can play well with Havertz. He's a very prolific goal scorer as well as a playmaker, which is kind of the appeal of Havertz as a player. So Havertz has been incredible. I don't think, by no means should they be replacing him. But I think in the past, when Arteta liked to experiment with more players, it was kind of bringing the young players to kind of give the older ones, the more experienced ones, kind of run for their money. So, but I think the rest of the squad didn't. I think the only reason that didn't work is because the rest of the squad wasn't up for it. In the sense that wasn't up for it. I'm not saying it was like the 1992 Denmark team when they didn't want to play the coach's tactics. Incredibly niche reference, but we're onward. I think it's just the rest of the squad wasn't capable, but they have an incredible squad, incredible defense, incredible midfield. So I think if Arteta kind of wants to go back to because I think that is the spark. With Arteta, even his first couple of years when they weren't doing as well as they were now, there was some sort of spark. There was a buzz around the Emirates and the sort of excitement that hasn't happened in a couple of years, at that point at least. And I don't know, I'm not saying that was a spark, but I think it was part of it. And I think now they have a more capable squad. They bring in a backup like Dovbyk. I mean, 30 million euros for a backup, a bit much, but it's Arsenal. They have money. But I don't know, I think Arteta can kind of, I think he can get the most out of him. I do. I think he can get the most of his tactic, I guess, with someone like Dovbyk. Chelsea, I chose Lucas Beraldo. Now, Chelsea was a weird one because Chelsea needed a signing like Enzo Maresca needs shampoo. They don't. That's a joke. So it does seem like Chelsea have finally found that recent stretch of success because they've kind of managed to cut down the squad and realize who fits the tactics better and who doesn't, which isn't the manager's fault when Todd Bowley is just basically throwing all his money away and bringing 40 players a window. That's not going to do a team very well. But Wesley Fofana's injured. Benoit Badiashile is injured. They could use extra defensive coverage. So I think Lucas Beraldo, I want to say he's 21 years of age. He's been doing very well at PSG, 30 million euros. So he's proven he can do it on top level. But also he's young enough that he can kind of be rotated with likes of maybe players, not players like Fofana, maybe players like Renato Vaiga and Tosin Adarabiayo. I'm sorry. I'm going to act like I pronounced that right. But yeah, so I think he can kind of, not necessarily younger players, because Adarabiayo is like 27, I think. Now, the other players that don't play as much, he can be rotated with them, but he can also I think he's proven doing on top level that he can complement the likes of Fofana and Badiashile when they're back, but also prove coverage for them before they're back. So I think Maresca's a pretty capable manager. I think Maresca. I should probably know that. I should probably know who the manager of Chelsea is if I have a football-related podcast. Maresca. Yeah, Maresca. So, yeah, I think he could get the most out of him. Liverpool were a bit of a rogue one. A player that I haven't really heard a ton about before. But I'm for Federico Gatti. He's a centre-back for Juventus. He costs 25 million euros. Liverpool have a pretty similar case for Chelsea. I feel like the past few transfer windows, as a Liverpool fan, we've always wanted to bring in a backup midfielder, and there's been bigger pieces to patch. We used to need a striker. We used to need forwards, right? We used to need forwards. We brought in Jota. We brought in Darwin. We brought in Diaz. We brought in Gakpo. They've all been doing brilliantly. Then we needed midfielders. We brought in Trabelsi. We brought in Endo. We brought in McAllister. We brought in Gravenberch. They've all been doing well. But Konate and Van Dijk, I think, no disrespect to Joe Gomez, but they're the first names on the team sheets for the center back. But Konate's been injured, and just kind of the trauma I have as a Liverpool fan with the center back injuries from the 2021 season. It's not a position you want to be thin. And I think Gomez is good. I actually rate Gomez incredibly high. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be the only backup center back. I think someone like Federico Gatti, he's had enough experience that I think he's proven enough to take on the Premier League. But also he's at a point in his career where he's not going to expect to start over Van Dijk or Konate. So I think that he could be just a perfect backup. I think he could be another Joe Gomez. That's all we need. I think all we need right now is another Joe Gomez. Every other position we have done incredibly well. Even left back. Costas Tsimikas, the man on the back of my shirt right now. Him and Robertson have been doing... They'll rotate throughout the season. They'll both put in shifts. Same with Connor Bradley and Trent. Obviously, Trent's the first name, but when Trent's injured, Connor Bradley rises to the occasion incredibly well. Slot's done very well with our midfield. Just the way that Jones is a traditional ball carrier. You have shovel size that he can be a number 8 or a number 10 if you want. McAllister can be a number 6 or a number 10. And Notice is happy to be there. I think he's done wonders with the midfield. So I think all we need is his backup defender to tighten things up. And I think Gatti could be that. I think it's a Liverpool signing in the sense it's going to come out of nowhere if it happens. Well, not nowhere, because you would have heard it here first. But I think Liverpool will have a good signing that comes out of absolutely nowhere. I think that would be it. And I think if they want to go on in the biz end of the season, because top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League, still in the FA Cup, still in the League Cup, it could be a massive season for Liverpool. But it's only going to be a massive season for Liverpool if they tighten up the squad. They were 9 points clear at Christmas last year and they didn't win the league. They finished 1 point short of the title in 2022 and in 2019. So I think just from all the trauma of having been a Liverpool fan in the past couple of years, it wouldn't hurt to tighten up our defense. And 25 million euros for a backup. We've spent, I'm not going to say any names, but we've made worse financial decisions in the past is all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. But hope you enjoyed watching. Hope you enjoyed listening. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow the podcast. I put a bit of research into this one, so I'd very much appreciate if you give a thumbs up, leave a comment. Let me know if you disagree. Let me go for the algorithm. Let's start a war in the comment section.